Social Security checks hit May 13, but millions could still miss this payment. Something is happening right now that Social Security hasn't publicly announced in any press release, any official newsletter, or any government update that's been pushed to the mainstream media. And if you're collecting Social Security benefits, or you're about to, what you don't know right now could literally cost you your May payment. Not delay it, not reduce it, completely miss it. May 13th is circled on millions of calendars across America. That's the date Social Security deposits hit bank accounts for a massive group of beneficiaries. But here's what nobody is telling you. There is a growing list of reasons why your check might not show up on that day or at all, and most of the people affected won't find out until it's already too late to fix it. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly who's at risk, why payments are being delayed or stopped in 2026, what the SSA quietly changed, and most importantly, what you can do right now to protect your money before that May 13th deadline passes. This is not a scare tactic. This is what's actually happening inside the Social Security Administration right now. Let's start at the beginning. The Social Security payment schedule isn't random. The SSA runs on a birthday-based system. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of any month, you get paid on the second Wednesday of the month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and 20th, you get paid on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday is between the 21st and 31st, your payment comes on the fourth Wednesday. May 13th is the second Wednesday of May 2026. That's payday for everyone born in the first 10 days of any month. Sounds simple, right? Clean system, automatic deposits. Except it's not that simple anymore. Here's where millions of Americans are about to get blindsided. And I mean blindsided in a way that affects their rent, their groceries, their medications. Because there are changes happening inside the SSA right now that are causing payment disruptions, account flags, and silent holds that most recipients have absolutely no warning about. And this next part is what most people don't know yet. In 2026, the Social Security Administration has been dealing with a wave of internal data verification sweeps. This isn't conspiracy. It's documented in SSA administrative notices and confirmed by multiple senior advocacy organizations. The SSA has been cross-referencing its payment records against other federal databases: IRS tax records, Medicare enrollment data, Department of Homeland Security files, and even state-level wage reporting systems. Why does that matter to you? Because if your records in one of those databases doesn't perfectly match what the SSA has on file, your name, your address, your banking information, your citizenship or residency status, your payment can be flagged, held, or in some cases stopped entirely while the agency resolves discrepancies. Let that sink in for a second. You could have been receiving benefits for 15 years. Your check has never been late, and then one day, without a warning letter, without a phone call, your direct deposit just doesn't show up, because somewhere in a government database, there's a data mismatch, a middle name entered differently, an old address still attached to your file, a name change from decades ago that was never fully updated across every federal system. This is happening to real people, right now. In 2026, one woman in Ohio, retired teacher, 71 years old, been on Social Security for 6 years, called her bank on a Wednesday morning wondering where her deposit was. The bank told her nothing had come in. She called the SSA. After over an hour on hold, she was told her account had been flagged for identity verification review. No letter, no advance notice. Just, your money is on hold, indefinitely, until we decide to release it. She waited 22 days for her payment. 22 days with no income, no explanation, no apology. And she is not alone. Now let me tell you about another group that's at serious risk of missing that May 13th payment. And this one might surprise you. People who recently changed banks. If you switched bank accounts, even recently, even correctly, even by calling SSA directly and submitting a change, you might be in a processing window that puts you right on the edge of the May 13th deposit cycle. The SSA requires a minimum of 30 to 45 days to fully process direct deposit changes in many cases. If your update was submitted in late March or April, there's a very real chance your new account isn't active in their system yet, and your old account might no longer exist. So where does that payment go? In many cases, it gets bounced back to the Treasury. And then you have to file a payment trace. And that process can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. 2 to 6 weeks without your check. For someone living on a fixed income, that's not an inconvenience. That's a crisis. And here's the part that makes this even more dangerous. When a payment bounces back to the Treasury, you don't automatically get notified. There's no alert, no text message, no email. You have to go looking for the problem yourself. By which point, you might already be behind on your bills. But wait, because it gets more complicated. There's a third category of people at risk of missing May 13th, and this one involves a rule that the SSA has quietly enforced more aggressively in 2026 than ever before: earnings reporting. If you are under full retirement age and you are still working while collecting Social Security, you are subject to what's called the Retirement Earnings Test. In 2026, the annual earnings limit sits at approximately $22,320. For every $2 you earn above that limit, the SSA withholds $1 from your benefits. Now, most people know this rule exists. What most people don't know is how the enforcement has changed. In previous years, this was largely a self-reporting system. You'd estimate your earnings, the SSA would adjust accordingly, and any overpayment would be sorted out at the end of the year. It was slow, it was forgiving. It gave people room to breathe. In 2026, that's changed. The SSA is now receiving real-time wage data feeds from employers through upgraded federal reporting systems. They're not waiting for your annual estimate anymore. They're seeing your paychecks as they come in. Which means if you hit that earnings limit mid-year, in April, say, or early May, you could see your May 13th payment reduced or paused without any prior notification, because the system now knows you've crossed the threshold before you've had a chance to report it yourself. This is hitting part-time workers hard. People who took on a little extra work to cover inflation. People who didn't realize how close they were to the cap. And now they're looking at a reduced check or no check at all, confused and scrambling. And speaking of inflation, let's talk about something that's creating real financial pain for millions of retirees heading into the summer of 2026. The COLA increase this year, the cost of living adjustment, added roughly $50 to $60 to the average monthly benefit. Sounds like a win. Except here's what happened to a lot of people when that extra money hit. It pushed them into higher income brackets for Medicare Part B premium calculations. The IRMAA surcharge, the income-related monthly adjustment amount, kicked in for people who were right on the edge of those income thresholds. And instead of having more money in their pockets from the COLA, they ended up with their Medicare premium automatically deducted at a higher rate. The result? A COLA increase that was supposed to help retirees keep up with rising prices actually left some people with less net income than they had the year before. And almost nobody warned them this was coming. If you're in that situation, if your Medicare premium jumped unexpectedly this year, you actually do have options. You can file what's called an IRMAA appeal, specifically a life-changing event request, if your income drops significantly in 2024 compared to the 2022 income the SSA used to calculate your current premium. A job loss, a pension change, the death of a spouse. These qualify as life-changing events, and the SSA is required by law to recalculate your premium based on your more recent income. Most retirees never file this. They just absorb the hit. Don't be one of them. Now let's talk about what's happening with paper checks, because not everyone is on direct deposit, and that group is getting particularly squeezed right now. The SSA mails paper checks to roughly 3 million beneficiaries who either don't have bank accounts or have specifically requested paper payment. And in 2026, with ongoing postal service disruptions and a backlog of unprocessed mail in several regional distribution centers, those checks are arriving late, sometimes days late, sometimes more than a week late. And here's the thing about a late paper check. You can't call your bank and report it missing the way you'd report a missing direct deposit. You have to wait a specific number of days before the SSA will even acknowledge a non-delivery. Then you have to request a payment trace. Then you wait for a replacement check to be issued and mailed. We're talking potentially 4 to 6 weeks before you see that money. If you are currently receiving a paper check and you have access to a bank account, or even a direct express card, switching to electronic payment is one of the most important moves you can make right now. It's not glamorous advice, but it is life-changing advice for people who've been burned by this. Here's something else happening in 2026 that's quietly affecting Social Security recipients, and nobody is talking about it loudly enough. Overpayment recovery. The SSA is currently in the middle of one of the most aggressive overpayment clawback campaigns in the agency's history. Hundreds of thousands of Americans have received letters in the past 6 months telling them they were overpaid at some point in the past, sometimes years ago, and that the SSA will now be withholding a portion of their monthly benefit until the overpayment is recovered. Under rules that changed in 2024 and continued into 2026, the SSA can withhold up to 100% of your monthly benefit to recover an overpayment. That means your check could go from $1,400 a month to zero, legally, without a court order, just a letter. Now, and this is critical, you have the right to appeal an overpayment determination. You have the right to request a waiver if repayment would cause you financial hardship. You have the right to request a lower withholding rate, but you must act within 30 days of receiving that notice. After 30 days, those options become significantly harder to exercise. If you have received or receive an overpayment notice from the SSA, do not ignore it. Do not assume it'll sort itself out. That 30-day window is real, and missing it could cost you months of reduced income. We're getting close to something important, so stay with me, because what I'm about to share is the part that most people only find out about after they've already missed a payment. The most common reason Social Security payments get disrupted isn't fraud. It isn't a government mistake. It isn't a banking error. It's outdated information sitting in your SSA file that you've never thought to check. Right now, today, go to ssa.gov and log into your My Social Security account. Verify your address. Verify your banking information. Verify your name exactly as it appears. Check that your benefit type is correctly listed. If you've moved in the last 3 years and didn't update the SSA, your file might still show an old address. If you've been divorced and changed your name, your records might be inconsistent across federal systems. If you switched banks and did it through your bank rather than directly through SSA, the update may not have fully processed. These are the small, invisible details that cause big, devastating payment disruptions, and they're entirely preventable. The SSA does not proactively reach out to verify your information before a problem occurs. They respond after the disruption happens, by which point you're already in a hold pattern, waiting, stressed, unsure when your money is coming. Don't wait for the problem to find you. Let's bring this home, because if you've made it this far, you clearly care about protecting your income, and that matters. May 13th is coming fast. For millions of Americans, that direct deposit represents their entire monthly income, their rent, their prescriptions, their groceries. There is no backup plan. There is no savings cushion. There is just that check. And the systems that are supposed to deliver it reliably are under more strain in 2026 than they have been in years. Staffing shortages at the SSA, data verification sweeps, overpayment campaigns, real-time earnings monitoring, Medicare premium adjustments, paper check delays. Every one of these is a potential disruption to your May 13th payment. But here's what I want to leave you with. Because this story doesn't have to end badly. Every single risk I've described today is manageable if you take action before the deadline, not after. Verify your SSA account information now. Confirm your direct deposit details. If you've received an overpayment letter, don't let that 30-day clock run out. If you're working and approaching the earnings limit, contact the SSA before they contact you. If you're on paper checks and have any alternative, make the switch. The difference between the people who get their May 13th check on time and the people who don't usually comes down to one thing: preparation. The people who got hurt were almost always caught off guard by something they could have checked weeks earlier. Don't be caught off guard. The SSA system is complicated, it's underfunded, it's dealing with massive data changes in 2026. But your benefits are yours. You earned them, you paid into this system for decades, and you deserve to receive every dollar on time every month. So take 5 minutes today. Log in, verify, confirm, protect yourself. And if this video gave you information you didn't have before, please hit that like button. It helps get this message to other retirees and seniors who need it just as much as you did. Subscribe so you don't miss the next update, because more changes are coming this summer that directly affect your Social Security and Medicare benefits. And drop a comment below. Tell me your birthday range. Tell me which Wednesday you're waiting on. Tell me if you've ever had a payment delayed and what happened. Because you're not alone in this. And together, we make sure nobody gets left behind.